Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the first webinar in the IMG Roadmap series of 2023, guys. All right.
The IMG Roadmap is the only podcast dedicated to coaching international medical graduates in success blueprints for this unique pathway. I am Dr. Nina Loom, your host, a previous IMG turned hospital medicine physician, healthcare administrator, speaker, and coach. I empower, encourage, and equip you with actionable steps that you can take towards the residency position of your dreams.
Let me know in the chat where you're calling from, where you're dialing in from. I'm just going to say hi, welcome. All right. Let me know where you're calling in from. I want to see your names. I see all of you. Okay, so Cherokee, Esther, Jacqueline, Shivani, Marwesh, Clavon, Alec, Noel, Bethany, Grace, Kimberly, Jessica, Paul, Idapreet, Hannah, Shamali, Stephanie, Udochukwu, Yadeshini. All right, Grace. All right, I see Jessica from the IMG Roadmap course here too. Awesome, I love it. Shamali, Stephanie, Olivia, Danilsa, Busola, Saima, Bolaji, Simran, Abdullah, Pam, Oishi, Sad, Anna, Daisy Torres, Eliana, Stefania, Viswaja, Alexandra. Okay, the room just keeps going. Jasmine, Sharanya, let me know. Give me a hi if I call your name. Let me know where you're calling from. Even if I don't call your name. Joshua, Viswaja, Brodus, Paola, God Duell, Gura, Tommy, let's see, Shay, Rita, Lina, Yola, Olalere, Charis, Tommy, Himanshi, and the list goes on and on and on. I want to know where you're calling from. So Dubai. If you're calling from the US, tell me what state. Tell me what state. Hannah, let's do this. I love it. Thank you for the birthday wishes. It was yesterday. Thailand, Rochester, El Salvador, India, Atlanta, Canada. All right. Sweden, Chicago, Qatar, Pakistan, Ali from Pakistan, Trinidad and Tobago, that's Tahira. All right. Cambridge, Massachusetts, that's Beth. Jasmine from Chicago. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Paul from Nigeria, Marie from Dallas, Melissa from New York, the call. Oh, Bolaji from the call, Karachi from Maryland, Inderpreet from India, Saima says from Saima, Serbia. Lisa is calling from Serbia. Charis is calling from Ireland. Tommy is calling from Malaysia. Welcome, Dubai. I was watching Dubai Bling the other day. That's awesome. So thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for being here. But I know you're not here to just hear me say your name and where you're from, right? You're here for the meat. You want the juice. You want to create your own medical success story this year. All right, so we're going to get into it. You'll be creating your IMG journey with me. I'm going to help you, okay? Let's do this. Now, what I need from you first is to take 2 seconds, grab a piece of paper. Go get a pen and paper, okay? Start with a pen and paper. Go right now. I'll give you 2 seconds. Get pen and paper and then come back. If you have your calendar, okay? If you have your planner with you that I gave to you at drninaloom.com/calendar, you can grab that. But grab your planner, grab your calendar. For those of you who haven't printed it out, this is your cue, guys. Print it out. I'm actually wearing my IMG Roadmap t-shirt. I'm so excited, guys. So grab your planner and your calendar. When you have a pen and a piece of paper with you, tell me in the chat. Today, there's going to be a lot of interaction, okay? I'm not going to talk to myself. I need to speak with a crowd that is responsive, IMGs that are responsive. I'm going to give, you're going to take, right? I'll be giving you wisdom. I'll be giving you knowledge. You're going to take it, but you're going to respond back to me. It's going to be a conversation, okay? I've done too many webinars where I talk alone from start to finish, but I need your feedback. So when you have a pen, tell me. I have my pen and paper ready. Kimberly has dropped the link to the calendar. If you're new here, you can go on that link and you can download it right now. If you have an iPad, you can write on your iPad. Those of you who have like electronic devices, you can write on it. So if you don't have a pen and paper, you can use that. If you have a phone, you can use your phone while you watch on your computer. But I need you to be able to take notes. We have some writing to do today. It's going to be a workshop, okay? This is a workshop. We're going to work and create that plan together. All right. There will be time for questions. We'll take some questions at the end. All right. So ready. Tommy's ready. I need to know you have your pen and paper. Ready, ready, ready? Are we ready? Okay. All right. So we have pen and paper in hand, and then we shall proceed. Okay. The first thing we're going to do. Oh, okay. Wait. Whoa. What's this slide? Okay. So you're going to be asking, some of you are new here. We've never met before. Welcome. All right. You may be wondering who I am and why I'm here and why is this slide so busy. But I'm going to give you a brief introduction of who I am before we go into the workshop today. My name is Nina Loom, okay? I was born and raised in Cameroon, that's in West Africa. I am an emergency medicine physician right now in the state of Ohio, okay? But I did not start here. I am an international medical graduate. I came to the United States on a visa in 2018. No, 2008, actually. I came on a visa. I came on a B1 visa. And I came in to do the USMLEs and to figure out my own IMG journey. I did not have the best scores, okay? I had a 198 on step 1, really low, which would be a fail today. I think at that time it was in a 99 percentile, so like the equivalent of a 240, I guess at this time on step 2, working my butt off. It probably was like a 230, I think, in that range. I don't remember the specifics, but my scores were low. That's the point, okay? I did not have connections. I needed a visa. I did not know how to network. But fast forward today, these are just some places that I've been featured in. If you're wondering what my credibility is and who am I to tell you how to create an IMG journey or how to create a success story for yourself, these are just some places I've been featured in, okay? And you can take that for face value, or you could say, well, no, BS, right? I don't care. But I'm just sharing with you that I didn't start here. I started where you're at. I started not knowing what to do, not certain how to start, not even knowing where to begin, who to contact, what to do, okay? And so when I became an attending, I told myself, I need to create a program where people don't have to go through this anymore. And that's why I'm sitting here in front of you today, having authored books and been a podcast host on the IMG Roadmap podcast, which some of you have listened to. I give you the blueprint. I tell you exactly what works and what doesn't work based on my experience and the experience of hundreds of IMGs who have gone before us, okay? So let's get right into it, because enough about me, right? You didn't come here to hear about me. Okay, so this is a picture that someone sent to me a couple of, when was this? This was probably last match season. I blurred her face. She sent this picture to me from Malta, I believe, or Cyprus. And we had worked together on her interview preparation as part of the IMG Roadmap program and her application cycle. And she sent this letter to me in March. Every March, I get these kind of emails sharing their match. And I know that you are here because you desire a similar outcome. And today we're going to plan toward that. So I'm sure by now everybody has their piece of paper and they have their pen. Some of you have your calendar out, this is what it looks like. This is the cover page of the IMG Roadmap calendar. I must share, however, that everything I share today is copyrighted and it's trademarked. So you cannot share my material with other people without my express permission. You can share the links with your friends. You can invite your friends to watch. You can invite your friends to sit in. You can share the replay with them. You can share the link for them to download, but you cannot reproduce and produce my material and say it's yours, okay? Because that's not right. That's not good. It's poor form. But just sharing that. All right. So the first exercise we're going to do today is we're going to list 3 things that you completed last year. So take a moment on your paper. I want you to write 3 things that you are proud of accomplishing last year. It doesn't have to be IMG related. It doesn't have to be medical journey related. It could be medical journey related, however. It may be that you completed step 1. It may be that you completed step 2. You finally passed step 3. You finally got ECFMG certified. You finally came to the United States. Whatever it is, you finally had a child that you were wanting. You finally got married. You finally got engaged. Whatever the case may be, I want you to write it down on your paper. And I need some courageous people. I need 5 of you in the comments right now to list it out. List it out in the comments in the chat. Tell me one of those 3 things that you want to share with everyone that you completed last year. The reason I'm doing this is before we create a plan to move forward, we need to assess the last year. We need to assess the things that worked and the things that did not work. You cannot make a roadmap without reviewing where you're coming from and where you're going. When you grab your phone to put in the GPS, right? What do? It asks you where you're starting from. You start from your current location and then you walk toward your future location, right? So when you start with where you're at right now, then your roadmap really begins from point A. Point A is where we are right now. So where we are right now will be, for the purpose of our workshop today, 3 things that we completed last year. So I want you to list 3 things that you completed last year. All right. So Daisy says she got her work permit in the US, meaning now she can obviously be a resident without needing a visa because she has a work permit. Aurelua says, graduated med school despite the war in Ukraine. Kudos to you, Aurelia, for doing it despite the war. I'll give you a tip. That is something you should write about in your personal statement, okay? Graduating med school in spite of the war. Healer says, past step 3, got driver's license, got first USCE. So those are 3 great things. Step 3 makes you more competitive as an IMG, so good job. Elena says, did better in med school. Your med school transcripts are going to be reviewed when you come time to apply. So good job. Learn how to swim. Adetola, that's a good one. That could be a story that you write about in your personal statement, regardless of your specialty that you go into. Why? Because that speaks of doing or learning as an adult. Adult learning can translate into how you'll be a good resident, right? Completed core rotations. Afuma Chuku says that. What does that mean? That means you have time to do electives now, okay? Meaning this year, you're gonna focus on your electives and you're gonna focus on electives in the specialty you're interested in so that you can get LORs in that specialty, okay? Daisy ran a half marathon. That is huge. That speaks to resilience, right? Resilience is a trait that you need to survive in this climate, okay? Figured out my finances for moving to the US. That is great, right? And I hope you did include your savings plan to join the IMG Roadmap program, right? Graduating med school, completing CK, getting married, as Sana said, OET, Hannah completed that. Did an observership. That's great because that counts towards your USCE, counts towards your LORs potentially, right? And it makes your CV look richer with US experience. Habibi says, gave birth to a second child. That could be a great thing. Opening up a family business. That's a topic you can speak about in interviews, in your personal statements, right? So Inderpreet says, overcame depression. And I want to just park right there. Overcoming mental health hurdles is one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself on this journey. Whether that is depression, anxiety, right? Overcoming something like that is huge. And if you are on this line and you're dealing with depression or anxiety, along with working your way into your residency plan, you are not alone. Remember to reach out for help. Remember, it's okay to see a psychiatrist, to take medication. It's okay to get the help that you need. It's okay to pray. It's okay to rely on your faith. It's okay. It will be okay. So now that we've gone through 3 things we completed last year, I want us to take a little bit of a different approach. Say only one thing. I need only one thing that you did not do that you set out to do. What is the one thing that you wanted to do and did not do? Okay, so we're going to reflect on that. List one thing that you set out to do that you did not do. If you're taking notes, you're writing it down on your pen and paper, hopefully into your planner. If you don't have that, or if you're willing to share, tell us in the chat. I see some other comments from Shamali, Tahira, Jasmine, regarding things that we accomplished, right? Aurelia talking about the war between Ukraine and Russia and completing school, working independently. So what is one thing that you wish you did but did not do? All right. Did not apply for the match last year. Madiha. Madiha, why is that thing? So the next step is, what is the one thing that I wanted to do and did not do? And why did I not complete it? What is the thing I wanted to do that did not do? And why did I not complete it? So Afomachuku says, did not write step 2. Could not pass step 1, Krish says. Okay, what is the thing? And then why did that happen? This is where you're going to get honest with yourself. Why did I not accomplish the goal that I set for myself? Because until you are introspective enough to get to that why, we can't move forward. We need to analyze where we have been in order to move forward to where we want to go. So if you did not accomplish this one thing that you've written, you did not apply to the match because of lack of USCE, you did not take step 1 due to mental health, you did not get done with step 2 and OET because of financial issues, you did not write an exam because you were too scared, you did not do this because this, okay? Then you have positioned yourself to be able to move into the next item, which is planning for 2023. Because in the grand scheme of things, there are 365 days in a year, right? And I'm sure there is some great history behind why it's 365 instead of 400 or instead of 600. There's so many, there's a rationale for that. And we're not going to study that today. But I want you to think of something. Today is January 4th, 2023. And it is a Wednesday. Now, same time last week, it was December 28, 2023, and it was a Wednesday. Has much changed in that time frame? Not a whole lot. A number has changed. Our ages will change this year. We'll get 1 year older. Our bones may get stronger this year. Our muscles may get stronger this year, right? Because we maybe have health goals as well. But as we advance, I want us to remember that the only thing that's different is time. And so we have analyzed the 3 things we completed last year. And now we've analyzed the one thing we did not complete. But the key is why. So now that you know your why, I see some whys that go around along the lines of afraid of failure. Daisy says, I was afraid to fail. But you would never know until you try, right? And you would never know until you reach out and get the help. And you're here and you're getting the help. You're asking, I want to know what to do so I'm not afraid, right? Another person says, I wanted to write a meta-analysis, but I didn't know how to, right? Maybe if a meta-analysis was too difficult, Sana, why not write a case report? That's a lot easier. And when you write that and you publish it, you gain the confidence to move on to a meta-analysis because that's more complex, right? I wanted to write step 2 CK, but I needed more time. And now this is time, Stephanie. January, February, March is time to study and take it. Glendon says, I didn't accomplish because of fear. Fear of what? Fear of the unknown. What is fear? F-E-A-R. False evidence appearing real. Our future is fluid. Our future is unknown. Our future can be whatever we designate for it to be by God's grace, right? So all we can do is prepare and position ourselves, right? Another thing I'm going to tell you, one of my key nuggets I have for you today, which will be in our action plan moving forward, is we're going to cancel motivation and we're going to take action, okay? So I see Madia says was afraid to apply without CK, okay? I did what I says, I didn't get my dream score and I let it stop me from applying. Fear of failure. Maria says, I was afraid. I hear a lot and I see a lot of fear of failure in the match. Fear of failure on the exam. Fear of failure because I don't have enough. Fear of failure because I don't have USCE. I can't handle the pressure of schoolwork. I don't have enough money, time, resources, help, direction. That's why we did not do the things that we wanted to do last year. So now, as we move forward in our exercise, and as we're working through creating a plan for 2023, what you have indirectly done with me today is a SWOT analysis. I bet you had no idea that's what we're working on. You have analyzed your strengths from last year, which are the things you did accomplish. We have analyzed your weaknesses from last year, which are the things you did not accomplish. And you have come up with opportunities in answering why. So when you answer, why did I not achieve XYZ goal? That is an opportunity. So for Hira, that could look like, because she was dealing with depression, it held her back from taking the necessary steps. So the opportunity here that exists is getting into counseling, getting into coaching, getting into mentoring, because she had no motivation, no matter how much she tried, she says. Right? So the opportunity here is, how can I get free of this depression and anxiety so I can move into where I want to be? The second opportunity could look like not waiting for motivation, but instead taking action in spite of feelings. That, my friends, is the secret to overcoming the threats that hold you back on your IMG journey. Is you have to stop waiting on motivation and take action in the direction of the dreams you want to accomplish. So Shamali says, I'm a slow learner, taking forever to learn USMLE material. Okay. She has identified her weaknesses, or he or she has identified weaknesses. Prior to that, Shamali identified strengths, things that Shamali accomplished that year. Now the opportunity is, how can I speed up my learning for the USMLE? Shamali, the best way is by taking question banks and focusing on studying using question banks, because it will get you thinking critically in the way that the USMLE wants you to think. Okay? Daisy says, I was afraid of another failure. That is your opportunity. How do I overcome that fear of failure? One way is by community. Surrounding yourself with a community of people who are going in the same direction that you are going in, Daisy, so that you can be enriched, I should say, enlightened by other people. And so you have a band of people who can hold you up as you move on. And that's what I offer with the IMG Roadmap program, right? Couldn't find electives to the US that offer visa sponsorship, Udochukwu says. Well, maybe the opportunity that exists is, can I get a visitor visa for another purpose? And then after I get my visitor's visa to visit my family or friends, then I look for an elective that doesn't require any visa sponsorship, and I can use my visitor visa to do that. That's what I did when I was a student. I came in as a visitor and kind of figured my way out in changing my status that way, right? So this whole exercise you've done with me today has helped you create a personal SWOT analysis. You have looked at your strengths, you have looked at your weaknesses. Your strengths are the things you accomplished last year. Your weaknesses are the things you did not accomplish last year. When I asked you why you did not accomplish those things, you wrote an answer. Hopefully, if you did not, stop right now and write the answer. Because there in that answer lies your opportunity. And in answering that question of why you did not accomplish that dream or that goal, you have identified the threat. And newsflash, the threat for all of us is usually around fear and lack. Those are our two big threats. Fear of failure, fear of being told no, fear of not knowing, and then lack of knowledge, lack of information, lack of direction, lack of mentorship, lack of counseling, lack of coaching, lack of information. I'll tell you guys, my own personal SWOT analysis, right, is strengths. I completed fellowship last year, meaning I have what it takes to be in that mindset of being a student. Weaknesses, my health went downhill. Opportunity, fellowship is done. Now I can get my health back into priority. Threat, my habits changed because I was a fellow. So I created different habits. Now I need to create new habits. Okay. But I cannot wait for motivation to take action. I take action in spite of motivation. So the key thing that you're going to do in creating your plan for 2023 is the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write out the 3 things you want to achieve this year. And I want you to write this in your planner because you're going to keep yourself accountable. So open your planner and go to the action plan page for January. And I want you to list 3 things you want to achieve this year. Now, I need some more courageous volunteers to tell me in the comments what those 3 things are. And because we're speaking about applying and matching into residency, we're going to keep those goals along the lines of our career, okay? I'll have several other webinars where we'll talk about mental health, wellness, exercise, keeping our health alive while we do this, because at the end of the day, we're all doctors, right? We want to live healthy lives as much as we want to accomplish our goals. So I want you to now list 3 things you want to achieve this year. Inderpreet says, pass my step 1. Write step 1, okay? Write steps 1 and 2. It is possible to do all your exams in 1 year, guys. It is possible to do all your exams in 1 year. I would tell you that. I've interviewed and talked to several IMGs on the podcast who have done this. I know it's for sure. Adesola says 2 to 3 months of observership, very possible to do, okay? Write and pass step 1 and 2, very possible. Present a poster and volunteer, very possible. Pass CK, build a CV, apply for Match 24, very possible, okay? Become a mom, I've seen that twice. Mawish and Daisy wrote that, very possible. Oishi says, take step 1, prepare for step 2, get USCE, sit my school's exit exam, write step 2, very possible. So what I like about your goals that you guys have is they are very specific. And so that makes it very attainable, right? Because a good goal must be specific, it must be measurable, you must be able to accurately describe it, it must be realistic, and you must have a timeline for it. So now, in order to create that outcome that you desire, which is Match in 2024, you have to start your process now. And that would look like studying for step 1, studying for step 2, studying for step 3. Alongside of studying for these things, it would look like also, while studying, networking so you can line up observerships 5, 6, 7, 8 months ahead of time. Okay. While doing that, it is also possible that you are adopting healthier eating habits, exercising, maintaining your health and wellness, preparing your body for the rigorous training that is yet to come. It is possible to do all these things, but how, right? How do we accomplish them? How do we accomplish them? We're going to split our goals into quarters, into bite sizes. So we have these big goals over here. We break them down and say between January and March, what are some realistic things I can do? And hopefully you have downloaded your planner so you know realistic things you can do. 1, you've identified the specialty you're applying into. So between January and March, how can I get 1 experience in internal medicine that would help me towards my match? How can I get 1 elective lined up for next year that can help me toward my match? That can look like reaching out to your alumni, reaching out to programs in your area, emailing your friends, emailing IMG coaches on the internet and asking, what can my strategy be? Seeking help. For you who's preparing an exam, it may look like buying your QBank today. Get on USMLE World, sign up for a 3-month subscription. You pick it up and you don't just sign up and you let it go. You open it and you say, how many questions are in this QBank? Let's say 2,300, okay? So if there are 2,300 questions in my USMLE Step 1 QBank, right? And now all I need is a pass score. 2,300, right? Divided by 90 days equal 25. So in 3 months, if I did 25 questions a day, I can complete my USMLE Step 1 study period. Now, hopefully you're not going to stretch it out to 3 months, maybe because you have some more time on your hands. And so you say, well, I can do it in 8 weeks, so 2 months, right? Let's say there are 2,300 questions in the QBank divided by 60. That would be 38 questions a day. I think 25 to 38 is a reasonable, very reasonable goal of questions you can answer in a day. And then you break it down and say, okay, before I even attack my QBank, maybe I could start off by taking an NBME just to see where I stand in the grand scheme of medical knowledge. And so you go on nbme.org and you sign up and you buy one of their forms and you take the exam just to see where you stand. And then, you know, before I started my QBank, I was ranking on my NBME less than 80, like I did really poorly. Now I know where I stand. So it gives me the gusto to complete my QBank. Now, I bought my USMLE QBank, I split it out, I said I'm gonna do 25 questions a day just to start, okay? And this is so I can get Step 1 out of the way by March. The reason my goal is March is so that April, May, June, I get Step 2 out of the way by July. June, July, August, I'm preparing for my application while preparing for Step 3, or I get Step 3 out of the way before then, whichever way suits you best. Everybody's different, right? Now, I have my QBank of 2,300 questions. I can do 25 to 34 questions a day. That's 1 hour in timed mode, right? 1 hour in time mode of QBank questions. Then I spend another 2-3 hours using a video resource of my choice, whether that is Pathoma, whether that is Kaplan videos, whether that's past program, to review the question answers that I just completed on that QBank. Maybe from my NBME, I noticed that my weakest area was biochem and anatomy that I did years ago and I don't remember. So I start off with that and I do 25 to 34 questions of anatomy in one day. And then I go and I review 2 to 3 hours of video content that helps me seal what I just studied on the QBanks. And then I grab an exercise book and I'm writing because I know that when I write down things, my brain remembers them from just that action of writing. And I'm going to do that from January to March to complete my exams. And that process can be replicated for Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. You may have completed all your exams and now you're like, I don't have exams to worry about. I just have USCE. I'm trying to build my CV. I'm trying to present a poster. Well, you're trying to present a poster. First question, where are you going to present your poster? What is your poster going to be on? Okay, reflect now on cases you saw in the last 3 to 4 months. Was there one rare case? One interesting case? Can I write up a case report on that? It's so easy to write a case report. Google how to write a case report. And I actually have an episode coming out this month in the IMG Roadmap podcast with an IMG researcher who dedicates her time in helping people write research papers. And we go into depth about case reports because they're the easiest poster you can present. It's the easiest publication you can get. So you start writing that. In 1 month, you can write a case report. In 1 day, you can write a case report. But where are you going to present it? Then you come and ask yourself, what am I going for? Oh, I'm going for pediatrics. Well, you sign up for the American Association of Pediatrics membership now, so that you know all the meetings coming up in the United States, both virtually and in person, because they will let you know as a member. They will inform you of upcoming meetings. So your case report that you prepared in January is just sitting there waiting for somebody that has an opening. As soon as you peruse the website or get that email notification saying, hey, American Academy of Pediatrics is meeting in San Francisco in October of 2022. We're accepting submissions. You can submit your case report. For the person who wants to get observerships, I'll tell you what I did. I didn't pay anyone for observerships. Yes, I work with programs now that connect international students and graduates with programs that they can get observerships with. But simple emailing and Googling got me to find observerships by creating my own question and asking, can I come work in your hospital for 3 weeks and just observe to see how you practice medicine? Because I'm interested in anesthesia. I want to watch you practice anesthesia for 2 weeks. Sent several of such emails out. 80-90% fell on deaf ears. 1% responded. I got 2 or 3 of them. That's all you need. You don't need 100 observerships to match. Most programs want you to have 3 to 6 months of US clinical experience. If you go to school in the Caribbean, that's your in. If you did not go to school in the Caribbean, then you find those USCEs that's going to lead you into that duration of time. Right? OET. Well, you want to pass the OET. What can I do? Right? I can get on the OET's website and start with their free resources. So you're going to break the year down into bite sizes, first of all. That's the first thing you're going to do. When you break the year down into bite sizes, the next step is you're going to create goals for each quarter. So quarter 1, January to March, you're going to say, my goal from now to March is do 1 thing or 2 things or those 3 things on your list. The next 3 months, you do the next 3 things on your list, and so on and so forth. You make your goals specific. You make your goals measurable. You make them realistic. We're not going to say we're going to do 200 questions a day when we're struggling to keep our attention span. That's not realistic. Okay. Electives do improve your resume. A case report can be written on just about any case. You just have to make it interesting enough for it to be desired for submission and acceptance. Okay. So in summary, because I'm not going to talk your ear off today. In summary, you're going to stay connected with me through Instagram, because I will have a lot of information to hold you up over the next few months. 2, you're going to download your planner if you haven't done so in your calendar and go through these questions. What did I do well last year? What did I fail at last year, and why? And then you're going to answer, or you're going to analyze your personal SWOT analysis. You're analyzing your strengths, your weaknesses, but you're going to focus on your opportunities. Because all we have for the future is hope. So if we want to achieve a certain goal, we cannot sit here and hope it's going to fall on our lap. It does not work like that. What you can do right now is begin to take action. We're throwing motivation out of the window because nobody eats because they had motivation, right? You take action. You take a spoon, you dip it in the food, and you put it in your mouth. That's action. When you're thirsty, You don't sit there and say, oh, I need the motivation to drink water. You go up to the tap, you get a glass of water, and you drink it. So when you want to do something, when you want to achieve a goal, what you ought to do is to go ahead and start working in the direction of the results you want to see. What does that mean? You begin to take the action in the direction of the result you want to see. So now you know electives are going to improve your resume if you do it in a specialty of your interest. So what does that mean? You book an elective in your interested specialty, 1, 2, 3 of them. If you want to write a case report, it has to be a case that you are involved in. So if you don't have a case like that, well, this is January. Look for a case in your clinical encounters. If you're rotating in a hospital, working in a hospital, volunteering somewhere, your eyes are peeled, looking for an opportunity to write a case, looking for a case you can write about. The minute you have it in your head that you want to write a case report, guess what happens? You start to find yourself in rooms, in places where ideas are coming to life. You're Googling about it, you're reading about it. So that the day that you're ready to have a case written up, you will be able to easily identify it because it's in your plan. But if it's not in your plan, you cannot achieve it, right? So back to your 3 things you want to accomplish this year. Okay, back to your plan to achieve 3 things. Now you've broken them down to between now and March. What are my 3 things I can accomplish? And you're going to start working toward them. You're going to start taking action toward them. Elective versus observership. Electives are for medical students. So if you're still enrolled in medical school, you do an elective because you could count it toward your medical training. If you've already graduated medical school, any clinical work that you do is an observership. Either one of those are beneficial depending on where you're at in your journey. If you're a medical student, your focus is an elective. If you are a resident or already a graduate, your focus is observership. But I'll tell you one thing, nothing matters what you do as much as how much you attribute to it. So it does not matter what you do. What matters is what you attribute to it. So you could do an observership, but you made it such a valuable experience that you got an LOR from it, you got a case report from it, that becomes highly valuable. It's better than the elective where nothing was obtained from. Nobody knew who you were. You had no benefit, you didn't benefit, you didn't learn anything medically. Then that makes it more complex, right? So we're going to end the presentation here and we're going to take some questions. If you're interested in being a part of learning from me and gaining from my expertise, I encourage you to subscribe to the IMG Roadmap podcast. Start there. We have over 100 episodes that you can absolutely learn from. The second thing, we're going to put a link in the comments here in the chat. You can subscribe to our newsletter. That's me. I write you letters, love letters every month, guiding you along the way. And the last thing I would invite you is to consider joining our program sometime this spring. More information on that later on. So I'm going to take questions now. And let's see in the chat here. Here it says, everything makes so much sense. I'm so glad I'm here right now. I'm glad you are here as well. How to know which is the specialty of your interest? Vizwaja, that is a question only you can answer. Nobody can tell you what to apply into. You have to pick out what your interests are based on your personality, based on your desire, based on your research, based on how much money you want to make, based on where you want to live, what kind of lifestyle you want to carry out. That is up to you. What type of doctor do you want to be? That's the question. And maybe that's where you should start, because if you are not clear, Viswaja, on the kind of doctor you want to be, then you can't do anything else of what I've said. You need to start, and that's why in your calendar, your first action plan is, what is my specialty of interest? You need to start there. Can a graduate apply for an elective? You have to understand what the meaning of the word elective is. Elective rotation means it's not a core rotation. To elective means you're working out of something that you chose to elect yourself into. So in the case of medical studies, it's an optional course of study. And so if you're not in medical school, you cannot participate in an elective because you don't have the option of being a medical student. But what you can participate in is an observership, which is just another elective, meaning you're opting to study in that specialty for 1 month under someone's supervision to get a letter to learn about the US system. But you're doing that because you have a personal goal to match into residency. So for you, it's an observership. How do you balance step prep with rotations? When you're doing rotations, you have to practice time management, because there are only 24 hours in a day. And because you only have 24 hours in a day, you can't make more hours, right, Grace? You can't make more hours. So what you can do is take inventory of your time right now and start to see how you can shave off certain things that are taking up your time and replace that time with studying. So if you go to rotations and you spend 1 hour on social media, you spend another hour talking to your friends on the telephone, you spend another 30 minutes watching Netflix, can you steal 2.5 hours from social media and Netflix and phone calls and spend studying? Can you use your commute to work or to rotations to listen to Goyen videos or audios, to listen to Pathoma, to listen to Kaplan videos, to listen to the past program, whatever you're using to study? Can you still back your commute on the bus, on the train, when you're flying somewhere, to watch a video on the Krebs cycle, or to take 5 MSK questions on your QBank? And then on your days off, you can dedicate 100% of your time to study. When you're in your rotations and the attending is chatting on the phone, or you have some downtime, can you pull up your USMLE World? I work right now in an emergency room, and we have students from an American medical school that rotate in the ER with us. And we have residents of internal medicine and family medicine residency programs that rotate with us. And I have to be there attending some days. I'll see them pull up their phone or their iPads between cases when we have some downtime or we're waiting on results. Because the ER, you go see a patient, you order your labs, and you're waiting on your results, and you're waiting for the next patient maybe. They get on their iPads, and guess what's open? USMLE World. And they're answering questions on emergency medicine, or they're answering questions on whatever they're studying that month. But if you're a medical student, can you align your rotations with the QBank section you're working on? You can. That's an achievable goal. Bolaji says, if I had clinical experience in 2018 and 19, would it still be good enough for my application? Or do I have to do new ones? Yes, they're still good enough for your application. Put them on your application. Yes, you can use your LORs from that far back. Reach out to your LOR writers. They could probably update the date. Even if they can't, you can use it. The link to subscribe to my newsletter is in the chat now. It's drnina.com, so that you can stay abreast with all the information. We'll have several of these webinars throughout the year. I invite you to join me. Okay. Habibi says, over 12 years graduation. You'll be surprised. In my program, I've had Someone who matched last year, 14 years out of graduation. I actually just got off a phone call coaching 20 years out of graduation who is going for an interview at Rutgers University on the 19th. We're doing an interview prep session. So Habibi, you'll never know until you try, and I'm inviting you to try because it's possible. Krish, are there only certain specialties an IMG can apply to? No, there are IMGs in all specialties. However, there are certain specialties that have so many more positions available than others. So if you look at all the number of positions, there are probably 39,000 positions in the United States plus. Out of those 39,000, a majority of them are internal medicine positions. A minority of them are neurosurgery positions. So by default, neurosurgery is highly competitive when compared to internal medicine. And it's also 7 years, and it also requires a smarter person. And so because of that, yeah, you can apply to neurosurgery. It's not impossible, but is it realistic that you'll get in? You have to look at it in light of what are my chances? Where the chances are more abundant, then it's higher. Where the chances are fewer, then it's lower. But I'm just going to apply it to just about any specialty. But the specialties that have the fewest number of IMGs, dermatology, orthopedics, plastics, urology, but doesn't make them impossible. There are IMGs in those specialties. We see them, but they're fewer. Hannah says, how many observerships do I need? There is no magic number, Hannah. Most programs say an average of 3 to 6 months, but we have IMGs who match with 1 or 2 observerships less than a month. I have IMGs on the podcast. I interviewed another one who never been to the United States, matched without ever coming here in person. Did 1 virtual rotation. So yes, those numbers are out there, but they don't make your story, Hannah. They don't create your story. Will I be able to get hands-on experience on observership? The observership thing is a title. When you show up, you speak to your attending and ask of them if you can participate in hands-on. Chances are they'll let you. Your life is what you create of it. If you do not take the front seat, the driver's seat of your life, nobody's going to take it for you. So when you're given an opportunity to do one thing, you can make it 3 things. You ask for what you want. And I'm here to guide you as to how to take action throughout the year. You just need to stay in contact with me. Is externship possible for an IMG? Yes. It's just another name for an observership that you have hands-on work with. Guaranteed. So, I hope this session was helpful for you. If it was, tell me in the comments, okay? Tell me in the comments if you found this helpful. If it wasn't, tell me what you were expecting. So on my next webinar, I can make it better. If you do come back, I would love to see you again, okay? There's no way, Dan asked if I have any tips to establish what my chances would be. There's no way to know what your chances would be. The only way to know is to try it out. No one, absolutely, there's not a human being that can tell you what your chances are. However, the NRMP releases the data every year for every specific specialty. You can look at that and say, how many applied to neurosurgery? How many got in? It's free information on the internet. Type in NRMP results for neurosurgery 2020, for example, whatever year, and it will come up and you can review it and you can see the average scores that they got, where they ranked compared to other people. Now, I'll caution you, however, that you are not everyone. So when you use that information, tread lightly, because that does not mean anything for you. It just gives you data that you can use as retrospective information to chart your territory. So you can know, well, the average IMG who match had a 260. Do I have a 260 or can I get a 260? The average IMG that matched in that specialty had 3 research papers. Do I have 1 research paper? Hannah, OBGYN, in my I've had, I am just applying to OBGYN that I've coached, that I've made it in, right? How do you manage time when you're working an 8 to 5? You wake up at 5 in the morning, meaning you go to sleep at 8 p.m. at night, meaning you cut out television, meaning you shorten your days and make sure that when you come back at 5, you have maybe an hour of family time, another 30 minutes of exercise time. You're going to sleep by 8 p.m. so you can be up at 5 a.m. so you can study from 6 to 7 and be at work at 8. Okay? So I would love to keep answering your questions, but our hour is up. Okay? Hopefully you have reset your mindset as you move forward into the new year. Come back for more. There is so much information I have to give you, and 1 hour is not enough time. Stay connected with me. Stick with the podcast. Follow the IMG Roadmap on social media. My podcast is on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on Google. It's everywhere you listen to podcasts. Okay? It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify Radio. It's on Google Podcasts. It's even on the internet on drninalum.com. Okay? But I want to help you, but you have to stay in contact, stay connected. The episodes are going to be coming out soon. The YouTube page is available. The blog is available. Come back. The recording will be made available to you. Okay? You'll get it by email, and we'll keep working throughout the year. We're in this together. I want to hear your commitment though. If you're committed to sticking with me, type in the chat, I am committed. Because when I tell you what our next webinar is later this month, I want to see you there. I want to see you there. So before I leave, I want to know who is committed. If you're listening to this after the fact, drop it in the chat, drop it in the show notes. Tell me if you are committed. Siri just said she didn't know if she understands. Because I'm committed, and I'll be here every month guiding you guys through the podcast every week, guiding you on YouTube, guiding you through my webinars, and guiding you again in a personal, intimate environment when my course launches in the spring. But you have to stay committed with me. I love you guys. I wish you the very best. I would like to pray with you. If you want to stay and pray with me, you're welcome to. My program usually has people of all diverse religions: Muslim, atheist, Catholic, Protestant, non-denominational, Buddhist. I've had all kinds of people in my program before, and I still do, but I'm Christian. So I'm going to lead us in a Christian prayer if you're willing. You can stay. If you don't want to stay, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you for it. My team just dropped the wait list. For those of you asking about my program, this is the link, aceyourclinicals.com 2023. You can sign up there, and we'll keep you informed with all your questions regarding the program. But I'd like to lead you in a prayer if you would stay with me. All right? All right. Lord, we thank you for a new year. We thank you for a brilliant opportunity to help us analyze our last year, to look at our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats, but more so that we can create a specific strategy for the new year. I pray that you help everyone on this webinar today. Joel, Aditola, Mawish, Tahira, Stephanie, Stefania, Aditola, Cherokee, Bolaji, Krish, Joel, Daisy, Habibi, Vishwaja, Godwell, Hannah, Grace, and all the people who I cannot read their names today. I pray that you help them to create a plan for themselves that actually works for them. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' name I pray. So thank you guys for joining in. And I wish you the very best. I'm going to have Alexa play us some exit music. Alexa, play I Have a Feeling Tonight's Going to Be a Good Night. And I wish you all the very best.